Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Guy Simking, the co-founder and CEO at Cyber Insurance Academy in Israel. Guy, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Thank you, Tony. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So we are recording on Sunday, October 31st. It won't go live until December, but as we were chatting just before getting started, I was asking Guy, well, number one, thanking him for being willing to record on a Sunday since he is in Israel. The time zones are a little tricky with me in the East Coast. And number two, I asked him if they celebrate Halloween in Israel. Turns out they don't. And also, it turns out they work on Sundays, take Friday and Saturday off. I did not know that. So we're starting today with a little cultural education, which is, I think, very useful for the listeners because there are so many insurtechs from Israel that the more we can understand about the culture, the better we'll be able to interact. So Guy, thank you for joining me today. So what is the Cyber Insurance Academy?
Okay, so basically we've identified a knowledge gap within the insurance industry. We recognize that the insurance industry, which is considered to be quite traditional and quite, I wouldn't say old, but quite traditional. They are lacking the most fundamental understanding of technology. And nowadays, with the cyber policy becoming mainstream, it's crucial for these insurance professionals to speak the cyber language, as we call it, and be able to convey their message when they're speaking to technical people. So we've actually recognized this gap, this specific terminology gap, as an hurdle to the development of the cyber product globally. And we've decided to focus on educating insurance professionals and teach them cyber. We always say that, cyber is sometimes sounds very scary. A lot of people think of cyber as something that is left only for engineers and computer science people. But we really believe that it's anyone's game. The only thing we need to do is to make it accessible, to make it easy to understand. And anyone can understand these complex concepts. It's very, very, it's becoming part of our lives and it's not going anywhere. It's getting into more and more domains in our lives. If we were talking about our autonomous car and our smart house and even implementing chips within our body, everything is becoming more and more technological and everything is much more connected. The digital risks are everywhere nowadays. And the insurance industry need to adapt itself to the new situation. Everything is around digital assets instead of physical assets nowadays, and cyber element is going to become part of any traditional insurance policy out there. And I'm not just talking about a standalone cyber policy, but also the cyber elements getting into property, D&O policies, health policies, etc., etc. So the entire industry need to adapt and learn more about the cyber language. And this is exactly what we're trying to solve. What we've done is to create an online academy. We basically offer a bunch of courses to different levels of seniority, different levels of expertise to the insurance industry. Because, nowadays, I'm talking about brokers, underwriters, and claim professionals. They're all lacking the terminology. And as a result, they would probably shy away from dealing or from talking about the cyber policy. Obviously, you don't want to speak about anything you don't understand. Just in general, specifically when it comes to cyber, it's even more intimidating and more scary. And once you have the terminology, you also have confidence to speak to those technical figures. And there are a lot of differences, when it comes to the cyber product from more traditional insurance products. Such as the fact that it can accumulate much easier, such as the fact that it has no borders. Basically, the cyber risk has no limits. It can hit you in Ukraine like it did in 2017, and it can affect so much more countries that you didn't even expect, and it can cause a very catastrophic disaster worldwide. That's only one factor because, the cyber risk is constantly changing. There are new risks and threats emerging every day. You have to stay up to date on those risks and those developments. basically it's a completely different ball game. That's what I'm trying to say. Therefore,
Okay.
you need a different set of skills in order to deal with this.
Let's dig into it a little. Okay, so you
Sure.
you were very careful, very politically correct in your description of the industry, of the insurance industry. The reality, and I'm not an insurtech guy. I'm a young traditional insurance guy. I'm going to be 40 next year, so young compared to the majority of the industry, probably old compared to the tech side of the world. But as an industry, we are an old industry. Modern insurance goes back to Lloyd's of London 300 years ago.
Exactly.
And in the US, which is the majority of my audience, the insurance goes back to Benjamin Franklin. The first insurance company was founded by Benjamin Franklin. It's the Philadelphia Contributorship. It's still there. It is still an existing insurance company. And Rob Galbraith, when he wrote the End of Insurance as We Know It, he talked about the top 10 personal lines insurance companies in the States. The youngest one of those top 10 is Allstate, and they're over 80 years old, right? So it's a very, very traditional space. And then it's a very traditional space that is staffed by people that are more mature than the rest of the economy. Part of it is because it's a great industry, so people tend to stay forever. I have met many people in insurance who have been here for 35 or 40 years at the same company, right? So they're very traditional, right? And also because of how insurance is protected by a very strong regulatory system here in the U.S. that is done by 50 plus jurisdictions. Each state and each territory does its own regulation of insurance. That makes it that protected us for a long time, and we have very old technology, right? And we were comfortable with that very old technology, like green screens. So in the last several years, most companies have been investing in modernizing their systems, but this is a slow, expensive, and long process. And at the same time, we have been seeing cyber all of a sudden become a huge thing, not only for our customers, right? Every one of our customers has a cyber exposure, regardless of how small they are. And we ourselves have a significant cyber exposure, right? So in the last year, one major carrier got hit by ransomware that I know of. There might have been more, and they were down for a week. And I don't want to mention names, I don't want to embarrass anybody, but one very, 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 very large broker, one of the top 10 brokers in the world, also got hit and was down for a whole week, right? God knows how much money they lost in both cases for being down for a whole week. So even if what I'm trying to get to is even if you are, a 175-year-old super regional mutual company, and you think, oh, this isn't affecting me, this isn't affecting my employees, I don't sell cyber, right? Maybe I have a white labeled cyber, but I don't really handle it myself. Like, you're still in danger if your people are not at least aware. Right? If your people don't at least speak, so it sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds to me that what you're doing, you're not training my people to be cyber underwriters or to be cyber defense people. You're training them to be able to speak the language, so that they can at least keep up with what's going on and they can speak the language with the technical people. Am I correct in that?
Exactly, because there is two sides to this industry. First is the insurance industry, which you've talked about, which is quite traditional, quite old, lacking the technical foundation. And on the other side, when it comes to the cyber policy, you're speaking to the most technical figure within the organization. You're interacting with the CISO or with the CIO, and these people are the most technical in their organization, and they usually expect you to be able to speak at the same eye level as they do. Again, without offending anyone, these people obviously feel like they're investing a lot of their time, money, and efforts into protecting their organization, and they don't usually understand why do they need a cyber policy. Who is this insurance guy to come here and tell me that I'm not doing my job well enough? So this is the challenge, to make the other side realize that this policy is for him. It's here to protect him. It's meant to be part of his robust security posture. It's not just something that is nice to have. It's a must-have nowadays. If we take a metaphor, for example, let's take your house. You can install the best door out there in the market and put a fingerprint to open the door, and you can put a guarding dog right at the entrance, and you can do whatever it takes to protect your house. And you can tell yourself, okay, I'm safe now. Nothing can hit me. I'm good. But I'm sure that you agree that they can throw a poison steak at your dog, and they can, I don't know, copy your fingerprint. There is a chance that you will get attacked. Same goes with cyber. No matter how much solutions and countermeasures you install on your network, there is a chance that you're going to get attacked. And even more than a chance, it most likely that you will get hurt. So this residual risk, you're supposed to deliver it, and you're supposed to transfer it into the insurance company, such as any risk that you're transferring to the insurance company.
So if I understand correctly, there is no such thing as 100% secure. There is no system that's 100% secure.
No,
right? It would be, and if we could create a system that was 100% secure, it would be so hard to use that the people that are using the system would become the problem.
Exactly. That's what's happening nowadays.
Okay.
Yeah. You can install all of these countermeasures that I've talked about, and you can do it very well. There are some organizations that are very protect. And eventually one employee that is opening a suspicious email can download a malicious file, and that's it. So it doesn't really, it's not just up to these technological solutions. You need to train your workforce and let them know about the dangers that they're exposed to when they're browsing the web, when they're opening emails. So it's a lot of work. You need to create processes, policies. It's not just telling your tech guys, you install this and this and that, and you have unlimited budget. There is a lot involved in this, in protecting your organization. The good news, is, if you are well protected, then probably the bad guys just go to your neighbor and look at his house and see if it's less protected.
It reminds me a lot of the SIU side of insurance. So SIU is what we call here in the States the Special Investigative Unit. So they're the ones that deal with claims fraud and with underwriting fraud. And I remember very early in my career, the SIU guy at Nationwide explaining that very often he got asked how many bad guys he put in jail. And his answer was very, very rarely. What his job is, or the way he described his job was, I have to make it so hard to defraud Nationwide that the bad guys will go against the other, they'll try the companies that are not as good as we are, right?
Yeah.
So it's very similar. Yeah, you want to be known as so hard to penetrate that they go after your neighbor, not after you.
Exactly. And you also talked about some of the larger organizations and some of the small, medium-sized businesses. Personally, I don't think there is a lot of difference between those, because you can be a huge company, huge corporation, and obviously you have a lot of data and you have a lot to lose. And if you're not working for a couple of days, it's millions of dollars of losses. But on the other hand, if you're a small business owner, let's take, for example, you have a small accounting firm and you have a list of companies. For you, it's your entire world, it's everything for you. And if you lose that, then you go out of business. Simple as that. It's even more catastrophic than a huge organization that has some backups and has some ways to restore the data. So I really think it's becoming a mainstream product, and it's becoming something that every company must have, small, medium, and large. And I also really think that the personal cyber policy is close by. Yeah, it's currently not there yet, but I believe that in a couple of years, every one of us will have a personal policy.
Look at I probably shouldn't say who. Okay, a fairly close family member of mine just built a new house. here in the States, and she stuck so much technology into this house that it really like absolutely everything in the house is it, can be utilized via Alexa. And some things it's the only way. Like the blinds, they have no string to pull them open or close them. You can only manage them by speaking to Alexa. And this person is older. I wouldn't say elderly, but she's older, retired, and it does make me nervous. The like how hackable her home is. Right. And so yes, I agree that as that becomes more and more affordable, and not only more affordable, but ultimately it'll become the standard, right? Ultimately, like here, I would say in the US, 5-10 years from now, any house that will be the standard, right? That it'll have an incredible amount of technology built in. Everything will talk to everything else, and we have to provide the proper insurance cover for those exposures that people are just not thinking about, right? So yeah, I think that you're absolutely right on that. And
there was.
Go ahead.
It was actually a huge problem within the insurance industry for the last couple of years to be able to recognize these hidden cyber risks, in traditional policies, as we spoke about at the beginning, the property, let's say the smart house, some people had a smart house before it started to become so mainstream, and it wasn't part of anything, meaning if you get hacked and if you were attacked by using some of your technological solutions installed on your house, then sometimes the insurer would say, oh, it's not part of my property insurance, or it's not part of this policy, and it created a lot of confusion. So this is something that the market is also trying to solve right now, and make sure that every policy out there either explicitly contain the cyber risk or does not contain. So you need to mention it once wording the policy.
And it sounds like the Cyber Academy, the Cyber Insurance Academy, you guys also cover the people risk. How do I put it? We talked earlier about the social hacking, right? Okay. So and on that side, I think it's really important to consider that even very smart and tech aware people can fall for it. And I realize that because I've never suffered a loss because of it, but I've been very close in my own personal life. One time I landed in Des Moines, Iowa for to speak at a conference, and I had an email from what that looked like it was from my CEO. And it asked me to buy a couple of Walmart gift cards. And had I been home, I would have noticed that the email didn't come, that wasn't really from his email. And had I, I would have been like, why would he want me to do that? But since I was on the road on my phone,
distracted,
I didn't notice the email address. And number two, it actually made sense. Like it would make sense for, if I'm speaking at a conference, it would make sense for my CEO to be like, hey, one of our clients is there. Would you get a gift card for them, right? In my name, like that would be completely within the realm of possibility. So they caught me on the right day. So I'm in a rental car and I see the email. So I turn around and I go to the Walmart, and I was in the Walmart parking lot. Oh, and I called them. I called them and left them a voicemail saying, hey, I received your email. I was on a plane when you sent it. I received your email. I'll go ahead and get the gift card. So I'm getting into the Walmart parking lot when I get a text back from him saying,
what are you talking about?
That wasn't exactly what are you talking about? And that's when I realized that I was very close to falling for it, right? So yeah, it
at least you realized
exactly, and I'm I'm not too old. I'm a techie. In fact, my degree is in management information systems. Like I had my career go just a little bit differently. I might have ended up working in the cybersecurity side. I've got a tech background. I've just never worked in tech, and I almost fell for it because it wasn't a tech attack. It was a social
engineering
hack. And if they try it with a million different people that day, a few of us are going to be in a situation where we won't notice, right?
For sure.
Also, another one that happened to me recently. Our company is going through a lot of change, especially on the IT side. I get an email from what looks like HR saying that we are moving to a new HR platform. Click here to open the website. So we're going through it. We're like our email server just moved to a different, right? We're going through a lot of IT change. It was perfectly
sounds reasonable.
It sounded reasonable. Exactly. When I clicked on it, I realized that it was a phishing attack.
Drill.
Exactly. And I only realized it because I was home. If I hadn't been home, I might have fallen for it. And I might have entered my username and password. But since I was home, I noticed the URL was weird.
Yeah, it just teaches you to be suspicious every time. If it sounds reasonable, if it doesn't sound reasonable. True story, yesterday I spoke to my grandfather. He's 84. He's still an active CEO of a shipping company here in Israel. And he told me he has nothing to do with technology. He still writes his own mails on paper. His secretary is reading his emails for him. But on the other side, the IT team scared him so much that now he tells me every email that I'm getting, I'm going over it 5 times, 6 times. And if I see something suspicious, I immediately deliver it to them. So you see, it's not a matter of age or technological experience, because it's simply a matter of being aware, being suspicious, understanding that you can get it, even if you're super careful. So on the one hand, you can have someone like my grandfather who has no technological background and can still pay attention. And on the other side, you can have very technical people that can simply ignore or be unaware for just a second and get attacked. We also saw a lot of cybersecurity companies getting attacked. And these guys are supposed to be very careful. And so it doesn't mean anything,
So the Cyber Insurance Academy, did you design this product or this service specifically to serve large companies or medium companies, or do you have something to fit everybody? Tell me about that.
So originally we started it as an internal project for a large international broker. They've identified this gap as a hurdle, as I said at the beginning, to the development of the product within their organization. They've recognized the cyber insurance, the cyber product as one of their next growth engine. And they basically wanted to invest more into the ability of their brokers to sell cyber. We assisted them with building the academy, and I'm talking about me and my partner Asaf, which is a cyber expert. He's been doing cyber for almost 11 years now, ever since his time in the Israeli army. He went to the cyber unit and is very experienced. And actually, we've met each other through our studies in university, where he opened our university cyber club. So he actually wanted to make cyber accessible for people from all schools within our university. This is how we met. I had no background at all once we met. And actually, I've learned through going to this club that cyber is so interesting, and it's not as scary as I spoke about at the beginning. And together we built this course we built a pretty general course together with them for the specific company. And then after receiving some feedback from students, we started realizing that we were onto something. It's something that these employees really saw the value of. They've been using this terminology in their day-to-day job. And we actually saw that this company has increased significantly their sales of cyber policies. We saw the great value, and we realized that it's needed throughout the entire industry, not just in this specific company. It was a process, but we've decided to separate forces and start selling the academy globally. to insurance companies, insurance brokers, risk managers, loss adjusters, companies, etc., basically to the entire industry, because we felt like all roles within the industry are lacking when it comes to cyber knowledge. Brokers, underwriters, claims professionals, risk managers, they all need this terminology, and they all need to gain the ability to speak to other people in the supply chain of the cyber policy. So we do have one very comprehensive course, which is called the Certified Cyber Insurance Specialist, the CCIS. It is very, very comprehensive, the most comprehensive one out there in the market nowadays. And it includes both cybersecurity elements and cyber insurance elements. The first 5 chapters are basically talking and introducing the cyber industry as a whole, and what are the key players who are operating there, what are their motives, what are we doing to protect ourselves against them. And we also learn about general technological concepts, such as how data transmission, for example, to understand how data is being transferred across the web. These are things that seems obvious to us in our day-to-day lives, but it's important to understand how things are working if you want to be able to ask the right questions and to point out on these exposures and vulnerabilities when you're speaking to the technical person. And the second part of the academy, the cyber insurance part, this is the more practical side part, where we basically take all of the technical terms learned in the first part and actually put them into context when you talk about proposal forms, the different coverages, endorsements, the structure of the policy, the underwriting process, claims handling process. And this is where everything starts to make sense, where we basically insert all of these technical terms and explain where we use them in our day-to-day job and in our lives. So this is the comprehensive course. Obviously, at graduation, you receive a certificate of graduation, which was actually approved and accredited by the Chartered Insurance Institute, the CII, in the UK. It's a very, very respected body. And basically, we're eligible to provide CPD, continuous professional development points, to their graduates.
Fantastic.
And also, it's a huge benchmark of quality stamp, that they've reviewed our academy and we fit their standard, which is great for us. And we also offer 2 shorter courses for, I would say, more experienced people who feel like they're lacking the cyber part of things. They're lacking the basic terminology, principles of cybersecurity, etc. And we have another course that deals with the essentials. It's cyber insurance essentials, basically just a bit from here, a bit from there, key topics that are important to know about, just to give you an overview of the industry, more fit to executives and people who just want to understand more about the industry.
Fantastic. Yeah. That sounds like a good set of courses, and I love the fact that it's certified by CII. Here in the US, CII is not big, but like you said at the beginning, cyber is a global issue, right? It's not like a lot of times with insurance things. US law is so different that we really want certifications that are specifically for the US insurance space. But when it comes to cyber, this is a technical thing. It's not about the US law. We can all get hit by it. So the fact that you're certified by a major body in Europe is definitely it makes it easier for me to sell it to my higher up, so to speak, if I want to bring it in. By the way,
even though we do work on accrediting the courses within the US as well. It's just a longer process because, as you said, you have 50 countries.
Fantastic.
Each country has their own requirements. Yeah, it's much more complicated, but we'll get there.
But fantastic. I do think it's important to mention. So you mentioned your co-founder Asaf, but you mean Asaf Armoni, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I go out of my way to specify that is because here in the US, among the insurtech circles, if you say Asaf, everybody thinks you mean Asaf won that Hippo. So make it very clear that we're talking about different Asafs.
Armoni. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So this has been super interesting. So anybody that listening to this that wants to take the course or wants to get some other people to take the course, the website is cyberinsuranceacademy.com. So that's the easiest place to learn more and to sign up, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have a very active LinkedIn page where we also post a lot of updates, and also it's kind of an educational page where we, introduce new terms. We post our own articles, which explains concepts. It's very interesting to follow, even if you're not taking the course. Yeah.
Perfect. I will definitely include that in the show notes. Guy, thank you so much for joining me today. Very, very, very interesting. I'm glad that somebody's doing this because it definitely
it is needed.
Yeah, no, I'm an insurance designations addict, and I often get asked, what about cyber? And my answer was, I used to be before today, we really don't have anything. I mean, there's AIDA by the institutes, which is about data analytics, but we don't have anything about cyber that I am aware of. So I'm glad that there is something out there and that it's robust to learn cyber, because I agree it's the future, and not only the future, like it's already a big part of the present, and it's not going to go away as we continue the miniaturization of technology. Not militarization, miniaturization. As the technology cost keeps coming down, and you can get you can get a cheap processor to put in my tennis shoes for 50 cents, right? And you can connect them to the IoT. More and more, everything.
That's just the present. Yeah, the present.
Exactly. It's
the future with the metaverse.
It's not going to go away. It's creating a world where anything is computerized and anything can be hacked, and with very real consequences.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is very, very important. Thank you very much for your time. Have a fantastic week.
Thank you for joining me today. It was my pleasure. And obviously, if anyone wants to learn more, you can obviously speak to me or go to our website. And thank you so much, Tony, for the time.
Anytime.